Boom, we're here.
What are we doing?
You're gonna have people riot if Jim doesn't say it's lunchtime.
What? What? I'm not sure what you mean.
There are things that have to be observed.
Lunch.
All right.
Lunchtime.
May the blood be upon your own head.
Now we can start.
What are we doing, Feeks? What are we
I don't
doing,
know.
Feeks? What are we doing?
I don't know. I feel like a fook, though. Not a feek.
I improbably are still getting over my poison ivy. As of last weekend, it turned into a systemic reaction. I got hives over my. In fact, you can probably see them. There's
Ew.
like this all over my body. So I went to the doctor. I finally went to a fucking doctor. He prescribed me some steroids. I'm fucking pumped. I'm roided out. I'm feeling better. But as a consequence, all last weekend, I didn't do anything but sit around and watch Star Trek: The Next Generation.
So many episodes.
Maybe,
I didn't have a reason. I just did.
I don't know if because there's just a ton of Star Trek to talk about. If we want to do our Trek update, is there anything anyone else wants to talk about?
Nah.
No.
Okay.
The creative Emmys were last weekend.
The what?
The creative Emmys?
Creative Emmys.
Yeah, the ones that are not nearly as important.
I was gonna say the
Oh,
part of
as
the
the
Emmys that
shitty
I don't
Emmys
care
that-
about, that no one cares about. Amazing. So what do we leave off? We start
next one?
We talked about Riker's adventure with aliens in the last episode, the xenophobic aliens. First episode we saw is Galaxy's Child. This is where the Enterprise, in trying to seek out and discover new life forms, finds a space form of life that just free floats in the universe. It looks like a horseshoe crab.
They find so many fucking life forms. It's incredible how many life forms they find.
Yeah, well, if you're moving at warp speed, you can just really hustle past the boring ass parts of the universe.
Yeah.
But apparently, in this solar system, there are horseshoe crab-looking creatures with like ankylosaur tails, and one of them started to attack the Enterprise or scan it, and it was like fucking Enterprise up. So Picard reluctantly ordered a phaser discharge that fucking killed the thing. But you know what, Jim? That alien was pregnant, and then they delivered the baby by a cesarean phaser cut section. And that's actually the B plot, believe it or not. The A plot is...
Did they actually get Beverly Crusher to pilot the thing, too?
She was, like, advising. Like, Worf was at the
Okay.
controls, because how would she know how to shoot the ship's
Okay.
phasers? But
Yeah.
she was advising on the intensity and the wattage and the narrowness of the beam. The A plot is, do you remember in the previous season, Geordi simulates on the holodeck the physicist that designed Enterprise's reactor to better diagnose some kind of energy drain, and he fell in love with this hologram because that's what Geordi does.
Right.
Geordi is the incel of the 24th century.
Yeah, he saw Weird Science. He said, "What an awesome retro movie," and he modeled his life after it.
And so the real Dr. Abrams shows up because she's heard about his engine, the modification to her engines, and she's pissed.
Awkward.
And she's kind of abrupt and standoffish, and worst of all, married. And there's the cringiest fucking scene in the world where she's like reviewing his records about how he made all those modifications, which eventually leads to this holodeck program. And she goes and sees like this doe-eyed version of herself, like the last dialogue that she said about like, every time you touch the engines, you're touching me, Geordi.
Jeez.
And she flips her shit like you would. But the thing is, at the end of the episode, she's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry for overreacting about the holodeck program," and like that's not the lesson to learn here, lady.
No.
Geordi is legitimately a creep in the show.
Yeah.
I like him, but holy fuck, he's a creep.
Yeah.
It's a damn shame. Like one of his defining characteristics, likes engines, just terrible with women. So that's all I got to say about
Well,
Galaxy
it's a
Child.
shame because LeVar Burton seems like a perfectly nice guy.
He is.
That
He's a
thing-
handsome guy. He's personable. He's super fucking charismatic and kind in real life. And you'd think he would have no problem. Although I guess you only have 1,000 people in Enterprise. Who knows how many of those are sexually compatible with you because of different speciations? Who knows how many of those people are already married with kids? It's a very small dating pool. And also, he's like, what, the chief engineer. So how many people can he like ethically date? Nobody in the engineering department.
No.
Probably nobody just wearing a gold uniform.
I think Guinan. That's
Guinan.
it.
He can date Guinan. Troy. I think Troy's up for grabs too because she's not technically in the chain of command. Not yet. I think she eventually puts on a uniform and winds up commanding the Enterprise, but she's just counselor right now. Then Night Terrors. Oh boy. So the Enterprise gets trapped in a rift and none of their crew can sleep because some brainwave is interfering with their REM sleep, except for Troy, who is plagued by nightmares. And it turns out there's an alien species that are trying to communicate to her through her Beta Z dreams. And it's kind of unremarkable episode except for the effects work of Deanna navigating the dream space. She's just in like a Peter Pan rig and against a green screen of like a nebula and going, "Where are you? What are you trying? What are you trying to say?" And she's pantomiming swimming through this psychic thing. It's fucking crazy. Identity Crisis. This is actually a really cool episode. This is the one where Geordi, when he was a much younger man, was part of a team of Federation personnel to investigate kind of like a Roanoke type colony where all the colonists just up and disappear. And like 5 years after this investigation, one by one, the crew that investigated this disappearance start disappearing themselves. They commandeer shuttlecraft. They just disappear in this planet. And it turns out there's some kind of alien reproductive virus that's infected them and transforming them slowly into these like predator type aliens that are completely like invisible to like electromagnetic radiation. But I remember this being creepy as a kid because the way they discover this is like Geordi's going through like this footage of himself in the holodeck and he sees like a shadow that shouldn't be there. And then at one point he has the computer like generate what is causing the shadow, and it's like this vaguely menacing humanoid shape that's like and I'm like, oh,
still
fuck.
terrifying.
It still works. And now that I've seen this in full def, the effect is a buck naked LeVar Burton that someone has stenciled like glowing veins on him with like a glow in the dark marker, and he's running around in front of a glow light with like glowing contact lenses, and they put some kind of 2-finger mittens on him to give him like alien hands.
Nice.
Again, never meant to be watched in this high of definition.
Yeah, no, because like she's like, no, surely he's wearing a bodysuit, but I'm like, no, that's a nipple. I see chest hair. He's just running around naked with glow-in-the-dark stuff painted on his body. So, almost saw Picard's dick in the Best of Both Worlds Part 2. Almost saw Geordi's warp nacelle. Nth degree.
Nth degree.
This is where Barclay is essentially Flowers from Algernon. Or for Algernon.
Barclay.
He gets turned super intelligent by some kind of alien probe.
Yep.
And first he turns into
building himself into the holodeck. Yeah.
First he like masters acting. He successfully flirts with Troy, and then he welds himself into the holodeck.
Yeah. That one I remember pretty well.
How does that work? Like you can make a real interface to the main computer of the Enterprise from the holodeck if you are a low-ranking engineering person.
A super intelligent one.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking Data can do whatever he wants. So like once you get a certain amount of intelligence, it just it just happens. But I love it is like every time when people find out that Barclay's commandeered the holodeck, it's always like, oh no, not this shit again. Right. But it's like even worse. And then leading up to the best of, I mean, there's this 6-episode stretch. It's like some of the best Star Trek I've ever seen.
Some of the worst things to happen to Geordi too.
Cupid, which, God, this is a fun episode.
Q episode, of course.
Yeah.
And not only is it, and it's also season 4, episode 20. So
nice.
That's fun.
420, Starblaze it.
Starblaze it.
Back
when seasons had 20 episodes. Yep.
So one of the many things about Picard as a Renaissance man is he's apparently a astroarchaeologist of some renown, and he's hosting an archaeology summit on Enterprise. And he's going to be the keynote speaker. And his lover from a couple seasons ago, Vosh, shows up. And the first half of the episode is just really fucking funny because he hasn't told anyone about Vosh. and Vosh is parading herself around the Enterprise to the delight of Troy and Crusher, and especially Riker. When Riker tries to make a pass at her, and then when he finds out it's like, oh, this is the boss's, he's like, oh, this is even better. And like Picard's visible discomfort of walking into Tin Ford and seeing her sitting at a table with all of his like, you know, rank officers around, like all laughing. It's so fucking good. And then Q shows up in the middle of this, says, I want to pay you back for saving me from the Q continuum last time.
He says that the debt of his saving his life just weighs too heavily on him, and he has to repay it right now.
And the way he's going to repay it is to like expose Vosh as like, I think the whole point is he's trying to expose Vosh for being a treacherous creature. Mm-hmm. So his way of doing this is he transports Picard and all of the bridge crew of the Enterprise into a fictitious version of Nottingham Forest, and with Picard as Robin Hood. And
he does know that this ship is equipped with holodecks, right?
Right. Yeah.
The humans, the mere mortals, have the power to do what he's paying them back with.
Yeah. Like it also, like 2 seasons ago, you transported them on a Napoleonic battlefield staffed by pig monsters. Like,
right.
You know, can the sheriff of Nottingham at least be a pig monster?
Yeah.
And Vosh is Maid Marian, and she's going to be executed at dawn unless Picard saves her.
Okay.
So there's just a ton of funny shit about this, but the funniest is like Worf's reaction, because he's like dressed as Will Scarlet. So he's wearing this tight-fitting like red tights and like this little tiny box hat on his giant Klingon head. And at one point he says, "Captain, I must protest. I am not a merry man." Troy shoots Data in the chest with an arrow. Patrick Stewart has an extraordinarily great time just doing really impressive sword work. And then also the other thing is like Vosh immediately just decides to play like she's in love with the bad guy. So no longer is this guy going to execute her. In fact, when Picard shows up to save her, she just turns him into the bad guy. And Q is super impressed with like how treacherous she is and kind of takes a shine. And when all this is said and done, she ends up taking off with Q to go explore the galaxy. And Picard's kind of actually jealous because like Q can offer you that. Like he makes the offer. He's like, you know, I can. I think he actually makes the offer to Picard at first. He's like, I can take you, like you know, you're doing a speech on this particular ruins. I can take you 1,000,000 years ago when like the city was actually functional. And Picard's like, no, thank you, fuck you. I've got my dusty books. And Vosh is like, yes, please. And then Picard's kind of low key pissed about it, but also it's Vosh.
Yeah, why did he turn down that opportunity?
Because because it's literally a deal with the devil. So I'm sure he's thinking some kind of
what are you
Faustian
trading?
bargain.
Like it's cool if you make a deal with the devil. What are you trading?
Yeah, because Q's just wanting to pay him back.
I don't think this devil makes trades. I think this devil just changes the rules whenever he wants to. So it's like,
and it's Q. He could take you back and then say, "This is where you live now."
Yeah. Then there's a really bummer of an episode called Half a Life where Lwj&A Troy. Which every time I see her like image in the preview on Netflix, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, it's a Lwj&A Troy episode. But she falls in love with this peace negotiator, or this scientist who, when it gets to be 60 years old, their species ritually commits suicide, and he's like 2 weeks away from that date. And there's a whole thing where she tries to use the power of the pussy to convince him otherwise, and then his daughter comes in and says, "Dad, I'm really disappointed in you. You're not going to take place in the suicide ritual." And it's just a really bummer maudlin episode that I did not like.
It is because they're mostly making an argument for why children should be responsible for their parents when they get to be over a certain age, and because parents always took care of the children. And there's this, I don't know, a boomer clearly wrote it.
Well, it's also one of those things where like the Federation's non-interference thing is kind of weird. Like if you're allied with I guess you respect the civilization's right to all die at the age of 60 despite what their health is or I don't know. I mean, it's just like, I don't know.
It depends. Are they on the cusp of achieving warp? Because if they are, you can go in and fuck with them all you want.
No, they're like already warp capable. I think their whole deal is their society's sun is dying, and like this guy's his life work has been to try to restart the sun. Oh, that's the other thing that does make sense is like he's very very close. And he's on the verge of a breakthrough, but he's got to die in like a week. So like, well, fuck it, I guess I'll die and people will continue on my work. But it's like, man, I don't know. There's no exceptions. Like your son's about to go Nova, guys.
Yeah.
I think you got bigger problems than what to do with your senior citizens if your fucking son explodes. So maybe keep Timotkin around for a couple more days.
But tradition.
And then I think the last one was The Host, which is oh shit, I forgot we finished the season. That's where, do you remember the episode of the Romulans like abduct Geordi on the way to some conference and then they brainwash him to assassinate some Klingon to start a Romulan-Klingon war?
No,
they do.
There's just so many abduction and like there's so many of those episodes.
Plus, this is like one of the mini Geordi screaming episodes where they got him strapped into this thing and they're beaming stuff right into his eye sensor. They're making him watch visual horrors. They don't elaborate, but he's watching people suffer, and he just
like Clockwork Orange, except he doesn't have eyes to close.
Right, they just beam it right into his optic synapses. And the way they test him is they simulate Tin Ford and just have him like go up to O'Brien and shoot him in the face with a phaser. Like the Romulan says, go kill Chief O'Brien. So like Geordi goes up and is like, hey, what's going on, Chief? He's like, oh, not much, Geordi.
How does he survive that?
Oh, it's a simulation. They're just testing to make sure the brainwashing is taken.
Okay.
But that's good. And what's really cool is like Data is the one that's kind of on the trail of figuring out the thing, and like watching Data like high-speed detective to try to save his friend was pretty cool.
Is it like when he high-speed swaps isolinear chips?
No, but we did make that joke.
Those scenes are fun
because there's a couple points where he's trying to put together a machine and like time is of the essence, and Cecily's like, what the fuck? This motherfucker can go like at blurring speed, and he's just like,
I watch him perform surgery to keep his daughter alive. Just
yeah. There's like his hands are moving so fast you couldn't even see him, and his best friend's on the line like dope 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 dope. Turn my hydro spanner oh so slowly, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. They fucking forgot like what Data is capable of.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, and then in theory. This is a great one. Data, some crew member hits on Data because she's had a string of like loser boyfriends, and Data creates a romantic program to try to be her boyfriend. It just fails miserably.
Really sad.
It's really sad because I don't know. You sometimes forget that Data doesn't have any emotion. So at the end when she breaks up with him, he's like, so we're no longer a couple. She's like, no, Data. He's like, then I'll go ahead and delete that program. And he's just like, done. And then she walks out on him, and he's sitting there in a darkened room just petting his cat. And it's just like, first of all, pimping ice cold. If a girl's breaking up with you and you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to delete everything that mattered to me about you, and then plus like it's just sad. It's sad for everybody.
Yeah. It's also the episode where they're what is it called? They're passing through those pockets where the ship like disappears.
Oh yeah, they're in a nebula, which is some really fucking cool, gorgeous effect shots. But this nebula has pockets of subspace distortion where like they'll drive through it and like a wall will disappear. So like they're on the bridge just chilling, and suddenly the computer's like, warning, atmospheric decompression in the observatory lounge. And they go, and like all the furniture is like stacked up against one side of the wall, and they're trying to figure out like what the fuck is going on. And then there's like, this is a pretty run-of-the-mill gentle Star Trek episode, and at one point a crew member lets out this blood-curdling scream, and they round the corner, and she's like phased through the floor, and there's like blood trickling out of her eye and nose socket.
Her ears.
Yeah, and I'm like,
really
that's actually
horrifying. I was not prepared for anything like that.
Pretty fucked up for like an out of nowhere, not scary Star Trek episode. And then
and of course, Captain Picard himself has to pilot them out of it by they sync the coordinates of the ships, so he goes in one of the like the little capsule ones, and he's
because the Enterprise is not maneuverable. The Enterprise is not maneuverable enough to avoid the things, and like their sensors are short range because of the nebula. So Picard goes out in the shuttlecraft to kind of feel ahead.
Yeah, so he tells them the coordinates to track and follow him so they can avoid these.
Yeah.
I just don't know why it always has to be the primary crew members.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, the captain should never leave the ship, frankly.
He's like, well, it's my responsibility. It's like, okay, I appreciate that, Jean-Luc, but are you the best pilot?
Right.
Are you literally the best pilot? When's the last time?
Sim Wesley.
I mean, he does this a lot, though, because the time where they tried to escape the energy-sucking, like, minefield, he personally piloted out of there, too. It's like, why? Or Data. Data's the best pilot. It's got to be.
Data's got to be. His reaction times alone make him probably the best pilot.
Again, hands can move at the speed of light.
His coordination is probably perfect.
What's really funny is this is the first episode that Patrick Stewart directed. And there's a good 5-minute stretch where he's just in this like phone booth sized shuttle
delivering
bay
a Shakespeare monologue,
saying, "Come to heading 299 Mark 44." And then he goes like that.
What happened to the inertial dampeners?
This turned off in his shuttlecraft.
What the fuck?
But his reaction of being like pinned to something by some kind of centripetal force or gravity is just terrible. It's just him going. Oh man, it's great. Fucking love Star Trek.
So good.
And we wrapped up the season with the first part of the redemption arc, which is the Klingon the erupting in the Civil War. The Duras, I forgot the fucking Duras sisters. The big reveal at the end of the season is like Tasha Yar's a Romulan somehow. Do you remember that?
No.
I remembered it like 5 seconds before she stepped out of the shadows. And I'm like, holy shit, this is Tasha Yar as a Romulan, but I have no idea. Cecily's like, how does this work? And I'm like, I really don't know, because Tasha Yar is dead. Mm-hmm. She was never a Romulan. And now she's a Romulan 2 years after she's dead. What the fuck?
Wait for part 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah. Redemption part 2. We'll see.
Yeah.
And that's your Trek update. Did we miss anything?
I don't think so.
All right.
It's a lot of Star Trek.
We couldn't have. That was at least 25 minutes. That was the length of a Star Trek episode.
Yeah, we recapped an entire half season of Trek. You're welcome. All right, we got some Q's because I got some A's.
Yeah.
I'm itching with these A's. Also, I'm itching with these highs.
Well, actually, before I get to the questions, today apparently is the day that everyone's supposed to be storming Area 51.
Right.
I haven't looked online for an update. How's it going? Anyone know?
They're all dead.
I actually saw some reporter that was giving like an on-the-ground report from the desert, and someone Naruto. Is it Naruto? What do you pronounce that?
Naruto. It's not. That's how I pronounce it. But
it's Naruto.
It's like Naruto.
Naruto ran past in the background, and it was hilarious.
But it worked.
Yeah,
nobody shot him. He missed all the bullets.
Yep.
Yeah.
You miss 100% of the bullets you do Naruto pass run through.
Yeah.
No, I'm curious to see what does happen with that. I know the guy who started the Facebook group pulled out of the party, calling it Fire Festival 2.0.
Smart guy. This guy has been playing it smart.
Stupid guy. He waited way too long to have this realization, but smart for pulling out.
Smarter than the dumb fuck that was behind fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Our first question is from Captain Stubby from Brisbane. I'm holidaying in New Zealand soon and plan on visiting a few Lord of the Rings filming locations. Are there any locations that you have visited and enjoyed, or that you would like to visit in the future? Also, hot off the press, Amazon announced that the new Lord of the Rings series will also be filmed in New Zealand.
It has to be.
I should hope so.
I mean, there'd be like an international riot if they tried to take the Lord of the or any kind of Tolkien thing from New Zealand at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It is Middle Earth. It's confirmed. Have you visited any sets
Breaking
or
Bad
locations?
stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
When we went to Breaking Bad Fan Fest, is that what it was called? Breaking Bad Fan Fest. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got a tour of basically all of them.
Yeah. Car
which
wash
was really cool. Yeah, we saw the car wash.
Laundromat.
We saw the place in the desert where they shot like the shootout.
Tahajali, yeah.
I
actually have.
Super cool.
I have some glass from the cars that they shot up.
Yeah.
There was like most have been picked clean, but if you went to a close inspection of the area revealed there was still some like taillights shot out and stuff, and I got them in a little vial. Maybe I'll do something with them someday.
Oh, cool.
Got to see the White House.
Yeah.
Got to see the laundromat.
That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys go to the tableside guac place?
Yes.
And
we did.
The chicken place,
We had dinner with Crazy 8 and Victor.
We went to the doghouse.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Did we get to see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had dogs in the doghouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we also went to Los Pollos Hermanos, which was kind of still sort of themed Breaking Bad, but sort of not.
They had the table where Gus meets with Walt. There's like a little like poster that says like, you know, this is the scene, but it's like it's completely different color scheme now. It's still recognizably the location, but that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, having dinner at the guac place with the cousins,
that was
and
super
Crazy
cool.
Eight, and it's not Victor. It's Is that the guy? The okay.
Yeah.
That was really fun. I feel like there's one other. The only other place of note that I've been to, like semi-famous, is I've been to the Fugitive Dam, which is actually part of the Tail of the Dragon, the famous Highway 129 between North Carolina and Tennessee. And like at the very start of that run, which is mostly famous because it's got like 311 curves in 7 miles, but at the very start of that is the dam that Harrison Ford jumped off of in The Fugitive, and it looks just like it.
Nice.
And you can get you can get like right close to it and look over it. So
turns out they don't remodel dams very often.
no, they pour that shit and kind of leave it in place. I guess one other is like the Cincinnati train, the train station is the Hall of Justice from all the DC stuff on the CW.
Yeah,
and it looks just like the old school Hall of Justice from like the Super Friends.
That's the thing. Like, yeah, I lived in Chicago, so when I drove, underneath the city, the tunnels, that's like where they shot the chases in Batman.
Mm-hmm. Very recognizable.
Yeah. But stuff that I've made a point to go to, it's pretty much just Breaking Bad stuff.
Murder Bear says, have you guys seen what KFC is working on unleashing upon the world?
Mm-hmm.
Call me old-fashioned, but I think the donut should be sliced in half, and each half is the top and bottom. Would any of you try this? I'm repulsed and can't wait to get one. He included a picture of Kentucky Fried Chicken and donuts. It's a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
It's a piece of fried chicken. Oops. And it's got 2 full-ass glazed donuts as a bun.
I have a love-hate relationship with KFC because I love their snackers and I like their chicken, but like they are king of the just mix shit up and see what sticks. Like they had one bowl that like it used to be called like a mess bowl, where it's just like mashed potatoes, gravy, corn, chicken, cheese, green beans, biscuits. Like it was just essentially the stomach contents of someone who ate at KFC in the last 30 minutes, and I'm just like, why? This is just dog chow. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
Can you see this picture?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I'm particularly disturbed by this right here.
The glaze, the dripping, the oozing glaze.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is it hot chicken going in between? Because that glaze is just going to get everywhere. They're glazed donuts.
I feel like this is trying to capitalize on chicken and waffles, like sweet breakfast with like a savory
just put waffles
chicken
on top. Like just make a waffle chicken sandwich.
I think doesn't KFC have chicken and waffles now? Chicken and waffles is great.
I haven't been to KFC in forever.
I guess I'd try it, but I don't know. I'm skeptical.
I don't think I'd try it. I don't need to do. Look, I'm 37 years old. I don't need to do that shit to myself anymore.
I mean, they're like, if this is even mildly successful, they're going to throw cheese and bacon on it next.
Yeah.
Oh God. All right.
Maybe some gravy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you think the glaze dripping's bad?
No one ever stopped to question if we should, just because we could. Tom Alex Witham says, "Hey Jim, Aaron, and Cecily, I'm very happy to hear you're going to be playing through the final season of Telltale's The Walking Dead. I just yesterday read that Telltale have been bailed out of whatever financial troubles they were in, and they're back making games."
Did you know this?
Yeah, Starbound. Is it? No, not Starbound. It's whatever Robert Kirkman's company is. Bought them.
Oh, that's pretty smart. Is that he's interesting.
At least that's what I think I heard.
Bet they will
Don't
be
fact
making
check me on that.
properties based on all the Robert Kirkman properties. Because he's got what was the one that he did for Cinemax?
It was Outcast.
Yeah, Outcast. They're going to be like an Outcast Telltale and
could be
whatever. Got to get
I
Fear the
feel like
Walking
people
Dead.
are over those types of games though now.
Like, you got to get Red Machete, The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he do the Preacher stuff? That's not.
Why not?
That's not Sky. What is it? Sky something.
Mm.
I can't.
Yeah. What did you just say? It was Sky what? Or no, you were the one that said it. Never mind.
Sky.
I said Skybound, but that
You said Starbound.
Starbound. I think it's Skybound.
Skybound.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. The rumors are that we'll be getting a second season of The Wolf Among Us. Given the opportunities in that game for bad guy Big B to cause chaos, kicking down doors, tearing off fable limbs, and
Wolfing out at the slightest drop of the hat.
sending poor Cockney toads and couch surfing
Oof,
pigs
that was
back to the
rough.
farm.
Yeah.
I feel it's a really rich area for the kind of dark comedy I love from your playthroughs. What do you think? Would you consider jumping back into the shoes of the big bad wolf if this comes to light? And Cecily, will you be involved? Oh, almost certainly, if not just producing.
No,
I mean-
you were like a really solid player on was it the Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
you
it was
didn't do
House
any-
Walking
Forrester.
Dead.
Yep.
You did The Walking Dead too?
Yeah, I did Bad Guy Lee.
Oh,
Bad guy Forrester.
Bad Guy Lee,
Bad Guy Forrester. Yep.
Mhm.
yeah.
I think we should do it.
I'm in for those things. I hate playing them, but I love making fun of them and just use it as a platform for improv comedy. So sure,
Yeah.
I'm down.
JT My 92. Where's your hype for Fargo season 4? Timothy Oliphant, Uzo Aduba,
It's in 2020.
and Chris Rock. Set in 1950s Kansas City in the center and will center around Europeans immigrating to the U.S. and African Americans leaving the Jim Crow South.
Yeah, I
It's a
have
great
no
migration.
time for hype at the moment. It's not until coming out until 2020, so that's far off my radar at this point.
But I mean,
I heard they
obviously,
cast Timothy Oliphant. Is that right? Yeah,
Just
that's
we
what
found
they
out
said.
this week. That's an amazing cast.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see Fargo prequels. To see because we've never gone that far back in time. Like we've been in the 70s, but that was directly related to and we've obviously seen the Fargo movie and like present day. Like yeah, that's a interesting. Like what does Fargo look like when you're like in the Norman Rockwell era, in of the Midwest? That'll be interesting.
I wonder what kind of Cohenisms are going to be in there too.
Oh,
Are we
that's
gonna
the
get
other,
more
yeah,
aliens?
yeah. The Lady Killers. Time to get into Lady Killers.
Have you seen that
Buster
one?
Scruggs,
Lady Killers?
do the new stuff.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. That's Tom Hanks, right?
Uh huh.
I haven't either.
I saw it once in the movies when I was like 20 years old, and I remember because I thought I knew what I was getting from the Coens, especially kind of like a Coen comedy, and it confounded me. It's Tom Hanks playing his goofy like Colonel Sanders with a lisp. It's bizarre.
I saw the previews for it, and it looked crazy, and I've always meant to watch it, and I just never have.
Yeah, it's almost like one of those. What's the Tyler Perry Medea series? It has like that kind of feel because they're living underneath. They're doing this criminal enterprise out of like a church lady's basement. So there's kind of a little bit of that energy. It's a bizarre film. We should watch it. Maybe that has double hook.
Oh,
double hook
yes.
potential.
Double Hook Fridays is tomorrow on Saturday.
Yeah. Now with less now with 100% probably less hooks.
Probably.
And certainly no Friday.
Yes. Have you or Alexis seen Event Horizon?
I have, yeah. I don't know if Alexis has,
I was
but
th-
yeah, that's a fantastic movie.
yeah, we're
That's fucked up.
thinking
Yeah.
about pulling that one out.
Yeah, we haven't. I've not seen that one because I guess
Really? Oh man.
I thought I got Descent and Event Horizon confused for a long time because
Okay.
because they're both kind of I hadn't seen either one of them. They're both kind of spoken in like hush tones. And I saw Descent and I really liked it.
There's some like Event Horizon has some cheesy bad shit in it, but it also has some just truly horrific imagery and scenes.
I heard that they cut like almost all of this horrific gore.
Yeah.
It used to be a 2-hour movie, and they cut it down to was it like 90 minutes,
Oh yeah.
and
We
then
need to-
lost all that footage.
Oh, they lost it.
Yeah, they stored it in a salt mine
just
in
saw
the
that-
Himalayas.
Yeah.
and it didn't survive for some
Salt's
reason.
supposed to preserve things.
It's supposed to keep it cool and dry, I guess, but
Mm-hmm.
didn't either of those things. Yeah, that should be weird. Travis, hi, Jim, Aaron, and Cecily. I hope your week has been wonderful. Silly quick question, and it may only apply to Aaron, but do you have a favorite Bill Simmons recurring guest? For instance, whenever I see Klosterman or Gladwell, I pretty much stop what I'm doing and dive in. Have any favorites?
Yeah, no, those are the two big ones. I guess I actually like his buddies. I like Jacko. I like Joe House. Those guys are always entertaining just because they've known each other. They got a lot of like Jim Aaron chemistry. So it's like, they just call up and talk about random whatever, and it's fun. You can tell they went to college and they've got all these in jokes, and they finish each other's sentences and laugh at each other's jokes, and it's a lot of fun.
Gunat has a moderate political talk / question.
Oh boy.
Realistically, I'm going to vote for Warren if I have the option to, but my bae is Andrew Yang. I feel that his focus on UBI and what automation will do to the labor force is really important, and the potential job losses as a result of these robo-devils affects everyone regardless of race and gender.
Everybody's robusts, man.
It's looking like Jim's robocism is becoming more and more justified.
Well, that's what happens.
I'm on his side now.
That's what happens in a reactionary political climate. Everybody goes against the immigrants and the robots.
Right.
Assuming Yang is the Dem nominee and assuming he beats Trump, I feel like we will have to spend all of his political capital getting enough votes from Dems, let alone Republicans, to pass a program giving each adult citizen $1,000 a month. I've gone through a site and the math seems to work out from a layperson's perspective, but it's going to be a tough sell to the public and their reps. I guess in this hypothetical, if Yang is elected, he's already convinced the public it will work, but what do you think?
It's too soon. Robots and AI are not scary enough yet. We have much bigger fish to fry in the form of the climate. I just think it's too soon to run on that platform and get any traction. I think it's a pressing issue, but not as pressing as some of our other ones, and not as pressing in day-to-day life, I don't think, but that's just like my opinion, man.
Yeah. I don't think I think he's also on board with like some kind of universal health care.
He's also on board with getting rid of daylight savings time, which is important.
That's pretty amazing. What isn't he pulling like 3 or 4%? Like I doubt that he gets the nomination, but like he's got a lot of interesting ideas, and he's the only one that actually is looking at the next problem. Like assuming we are able to get our hands around climate change, assuming we're able to provide all of our citizens the guarantee that they're not going to die because of genetics or some fucking flu or accident they get, or have their finances destroyed because treating the same. Assuming that we can like house all of our citizens, like being able to mitigate the effects of mass unemployment because of automation is going to be is the next on the list, and it's going to really start biting in about 10 to 15 years and probably get worse and worse over the next 30. Mm-hmm. And that's goddamn, that's only two full-term presidential cycles away. Like if I'd have told you like at the beginning of the Bush era that like that's 15 years away, like it's that bam, that just happened. So
yeah.
But
also, what's $1,000 going to do? $1,000 a month is not enough. It's not even close to enough in our current markets. Like I did some quick math. If you're working 40 hours a week and you're making $12 an hour, you're making $2,000 a month. That's double what he wants to give you. You're going to be making $6 an hour on this basic income. Housing prices are beyond what you could afford.
But the way that works is regardless, like if you work a full-time job, you get to keep your $2,000 and get another $1,000.
No, I get it, but like, what is the goal here with the automation? Maybe this is a baby step toward what we actually need to do, which is just fucking have people's incomes, not determined on their labor, but like that's not enough income to survive on. So you still have to work. You still have to have a job.
Right.
So I don't know. The universal basic income moniker is maybe not the right.
Right. Yeah, the there's
because a basic income to me should be enough to cover all of your costs for living. That's what a basic income, in my opinion, is.
So I think there's parts in the country you can make it on $2,000 a month, which is essentially a mom and a dad.
We're living in a pretty damn cheap part of the country, where we are.
I'm not saying
not the cheapest,
easy,
but like
that plus a modest part-time job with both parents, I think would about do it. But you're right, and the thing is this also completely replace. It's designed to completely. Excuse me. It's designed to completely replace all other entitlement programs. So
Right.
no more food stamps, no more housing assistance. All that is replaced by the $1,000. The other problem is I want to know, and he might have the answers to this. I just haven't looked at it.
Yeah.
But like, all the problems with these assistance programs are they're vulnerable to rich people coming in like 20 years later and being like, what do these people need all this money for? We're going to slash this down to $750, or we're not going to keep it adjusted to inflation. Like, what's the answer to that? Because I mean, it seems like the more I think about it, the real enemy is like Citizens United. The fact that the Supreme Court has said that money is free speech and you can't constitutionally, it's going to require a constitutional amendment to regulate campaign finance. And as long as you have billionaires able to buy legislation, they're going to buy legislation favorable for them. It's going to be all austerity for the poor people and all bailouts and handouts for the rich.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it'll be like that way. And I until we get that particular leak in the dam plugged, I don't know how we're going to make real lasting progress. And the idea of getting a constitutional amendment passed through in this political climate seems crazy. It's almost like this situation was engineered over 30 or 40 years to be a door slammed shut in and we the people's face and deadbolts locked behind us. So
Here's the thing I like about UBI versus like, oh, we'll just tax the rich more. Is taxing the rich more does nothing for the problem of using those taxes to enrich the rich. Like, they can just find ways to pump that money back into their own coffers. Like, UBI at least puts that money into the hands of real human beings who need it. So that's kind of one of the big advantages. And like I said, it might be a baby step toward a real UBI system that actually provides an income for everyone to live without having to work, because like he says, the robots and the artificial intelligence is going to be doing all of our productivity for us. So we'll get there, hopefully.
Or literally die trying.
Yeah.
Texas Sandman. Follow up to my question last week regarding lying by omission to my wife about almost getting hit by a car while running.
Ooh, juicy.
I ended up slipping it into conversation as we drove, and she flipped her lid and hit somebody running. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I ended up slipping into a conversation as we drove, and she did not flip her shit, so thanks for the sage advice. This week's cue. A few weeks ago, when El Camino was announced, Aaron Paul posted a scene he thought everyone should revisit before seeing the movie. It was the scene in season 3, I think the 1-minute episode, where Walt visits Jesse in the hospital and offers him the $1.5 million contract from Gus. Jesse explodes, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure you are familiar with it. I would like to offer an enhanced version of that scene with the music from The Leftovers overlaid.
Yeah. Max Richter, which I did not know this when we did the review, but he did the music for Ad Astra.
Right.
It is the perfect combo of two of the best TV franchises ever made. Have you all seen this before, or the many other sadder with the leftover music videos?
Yeah, I've seen a couple. God, what was the one?
Isn't everything sadder with the leftovers?
Yeah.
Play that music over a child blowing out their birthday candles.
Oh, God.
I've seen that. I've seen something about like I think like Captain America post Thanos beatdown, like getting back up like that. I've seen one of those. There's been a couple that are pretty effective. Man, I actually start thinking about, man, what if you had the Leftovers theme in Ad Astra? I think there would have been some emotion there. Anyway, what was the question? Just have I seen that and what I think about it?
Have you seen any other videos that are sadder with leftover music on them?
I have, but I can't think of many beyond the one Captain America one.
Yeah, I'm aware of the meme. I don't think I've actually watched any of them, though.
I think there's one, like, you remember the Morpheus, Neo rescuing Morpheus, and like, you know, Morpheus is like breaking out of the. I think that I saw one that was cut to scored to that too.
Yeah,
some of them are just kind of funny. But
Ted K on Twitter wants to know if you guys have any advice for someone graduating college in December.
supposed to graduate in the spring. You're fucking up the cycle, man. You're
Yeah.
like the 7-year cicada coming out in year 6.
First of all, bad timing.
All the robins are going to descend and just peck you to death. You got to safety in numbers, man. Probably actually the exact opposite for trying to enter the job field. I don't, because I didn't go to college. Get work on a resume. Get some solid professional references. If you're set for money, now's the time to like go and travel and maybe live it up for a couple months before you never get the opportunity to do it again.
If you have money left over.
It's been at this point like 15 years since I've actually had a job interview.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I feel like my early career was so skin of my teeth, just like so improbable that I have no advice for anyone who's actually looking for a real career after college.
Oh, no, here's the advice. To the extent that you're not already into your eyeballs in debt with college, stay out of debt.
Sure, yeah.
Do whatever you can to stay out of debt, because life will give you opportunities, and the extent of you being able to take advantage of those opportunities is a large point going to be how tied down to debt you are.
Yeah, save 20% of your income if you're able. Your 35-year-old self will thank you.
Yes. Like stay out of debt, save as much as you can. That's very, very hard, but those are the things that to kind of keep your eyes on the prize for, because that's like, you know, the only true freedom and power you've got in the way our society is set up is to the extent that you can stay out of debt and that you can have money to, you know, to invest in yourself. So try to that kind of flies in the face of like go travel and live it up and all that, but yeah, that's the trying to find a balance in life between enjoying your youth while you can and also not not completely pillaging your retirement years is a thing that we all kind of struggle with, right?
Yeah, I think like with the things you want to do and enjoy, do them. Like I feel like I did neither. Like I didn't live it up, and I also didn't save anything. I just kind of blew all my money on stupid shit.
Right.
So like, you know, find a good balance. Try not to do anything stupid with your life. Just like don't waste it. You know.
Be careful. Be careful. Keep your friend circle tight, and you know, don't be careful who you keep company with. Be careful who you fall in love with, because those things like bad friends and bad relationships can really wreck you.
Don't get involved in any neo-Nazi groups.
Cults. Stay away from cults.
Don't get involved in any cults.
Someone knocks on your door selling religion. Keep your hand on your wallet and your gun.
Make sure you don't swim too soon after eating.
Stop drinking pop.
Always floss every
Avoid
day.
red meat and pork.
There you go.
Yeah, no, actually solid advice. Fucking floss your teeth every night, brush twice a day with a toothpaste approved by the American Dental Association. That's another a good one.
Drink half of your body weight in ounces of water every day.
Stay active.
Yeah.
Yeah, get out there and move your body around.
Trim your nose hairs. Like
Yes.
make sure you're just doing everything correctly in your
room.
life, and you'll be fine.
Clean your room.
Yep.
Don't get sick.
Don't get sick.
Don't get sick. Don't get in an accident. God forbid you not have
man.
insurance in any of those. It's just make sure make sure you never get sick and you never get hurt.
Yes.
And you're well
You'll
on
be
your
fine.
way to being successful.
All right. That should just carry you through the rest of your life. AJM 101. I've recently been trying to mix up my TV viewing, and I find myself stumbling onto some Discovery Channel documentaries on UFOs. Now,
boy.
I am a man of science and a skeptic, but one example that caught my attention was USS Nimitz.
This is like, I'm not racist, but
2004, the USS Nimitz 2004
Oh,
radar
yeah.
visual encounter of a UFO. Something was detected on radar, and the pilots were dispatched to intercept. They reported seeing a tic-tac shaped object moving erratically. Upon moving in for a closer inspection, it accelerated at 2,400 miles per hour straight down from 28,000 feet into the ocean. Apparently, sonar even got a hit. Commander Fravor reflected on his sighting. I have no idea what I saw. It had no plumes, wings, or rotors and outran our F-18s, but I want to fly one. Fishermen.
You're not gonna fly a Tic Tac sized spacecraft, sir.
It's
It's not gonna
it's
happen.
shaped.
Oh, okay.
So there's still hope yet. Fishermen and locals have also reported similar sightings in the area, but many people do not report sightings due to the stigma attached. The USS Navy has recently confirmed the footage released is real.
astigmatism of their eyes.
Right. The possibilities that I can think of are unknown weather phenomena, human error or equipment malfunction, secret military operation, or objects of extraterrestrial origin. What do you guys think? Have you seen this footage?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I don't know why this came because I hadn't seen it when it was like, I guess, current day.
2004.
But I just saw. I think this came on Reddit like a couple weeks ago, and the Navy, I guess, recently commented, like you said, confirmed it. I mean, who knows? Like, this is like the blorp. Remember that? Like this deep undersea roar that like no one could figure out, and everyone is like, "Oh, is it Cthulhu? Is it fucking Megalodon? Is it this? Is it that?" You know what it was? It's a glacier scraping like bedrock. So is it aliens? It actually could be. There's nothing in science that says there's not some advanced alien society out there that would send some hyper capable craft to explore our world and then wig out when it got too close to a military aircraft and do what it did. Like, but the world and the universe is so weird. Like, it also could be like a micrometeor that came in at just the right speed and angle to bounce off a thermocline in the atmosphere and do some weird shit. And I mean, you're asking me to speculate on way over my pay grade, but it's much more likely to be either some kind of weapon system that they're not ready to talk about or some kind of weird atmospheric phenomenon than it is to be an extraterrestrial life form. You know, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, et cetera, et cetera.
But the military has said they don't know what it is.
But if they, I mean, if it's one of theirs or one of the Russians or one of the Chinas, what are they going to say?
Sure.
Oh yeah, you busted us.
Guys.
This is our super.
No, I think they would say it's something else. Like it was a test.
Weather balloon?
It was a test run. It was a weather balloon.
Swamp
something
gas
like
reflecting
that.
Venus reflecting off a swamp gas.
Exactly. Or say it was the Russians or something like that, but we shot them down. I don't know.
It's the Mexicans. We need a border wall.
They have that tic tac technology. We're falling behind. The tic tac gap is real.
Their
We're falling
tic tac
behind.
tech game is super strong. They've lined up two X's.
5 years ago, they're limited to mint. Now they have orange. My God, we hear they're working on mango. Once they have pineapple, they've exceeded our own capabilities. The wall just got 50 foot higher.
At Tommy Lee Jones's face on Twitter says, I enjoyed your review of Ad Astra. I thought I was going to get off clean, but then it happened. Jim made a crack about my face. Given it wasn't as bad as, looks like a catcher's mitt made of buttholes. Tommy Lee Jones's face is not pleased.
Looked like a catcher's mitt made out of buttholes exposed to cosmic gamma radiation for 32 years.
Greenback says, Happy Friday from Scotland. Have any of you gotten into VR gaming? I've sunk far too many hours into No Man's Sky on VR since the recent update, and I can't seem to get enough.
But that's fun.
Yeah, I've wanted to, and the new Oculus thing has kind of tempted me a little bit, but it's just never felt like it's worth the cash yet.
It's so funny because this
plus
week,
I don't have time for it. It's
like I said, I've been into Wipeout of late, although I was much more into Star Trek last week, and I was just casually reading the Wipeout subreddit, and everyone says that the VR version is the way to play.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine the sense of speed you would get from that playing it with a helmet. So I mean, I imagine this sometime. Like Jack's already got one. His mom got him one like 2 years ago. I imagine sometime in the next 10 years we'll probably invest in one. It's just a matter of price and like a compelling, like what is going to be the killer feature, you know, what's going to be the thing that's like, yeah, we got to have that. We need that in our family's lives. I don't know. But like, yeah, if I was making like 2010 Aaron money, I'd already bought it, and I'd probably converted half my basement into a VR thing. But like, it seems like it's a well-off nerd toy for now still.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not just the
less
equipment,
so
you
with
need
like
the space,
PSVR.
right?
Yeah, the space is a problem.
Yeah.
Like I know PSVR is pretty cheap because most, if you're a gamer, you probably have a PlayStation 4.
How much is the PS4 VR
I think it's
stuff?
like $300. It's not shockingly bad.
I think,
But
I
I
feel
would
like
have to upgrade my PlayStation to get
150
it.
to 200 is right where that would be like, okay, that
Yeah.
seems like a family Christmas present.
Mm-hmm.
But would you have to upgrade your PlayStation?
I would have to, because I have the original
Mm.
PlayStation.
Do you have to
4.
have the Max or whatever? The
No, but I
Pro?
bet it runs like shit if you don't.
Really? Because you're
Yeah.
essentially having to like drive two graphics displays, right?
Yeah.
We have one of the expanded, the 1 terabyte ones
Mhm.
upstairs.
But it's still
Is it
not the Pro.
Yeah.
Oh, it has to be the Pro.
Oh.
Yeah, the Pro's the one's got the beefier. When are they going to come with the PlayStation 5?
Soon, next year.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, shit.
Yeah, we're like a year away.
Because that's
from
the other
new
thing is
consoles.
like our family has 3 PlayStations by virtue of like circa 2010 Aaron salary. There's no way I'd be able to drop money for 3 PlayStation 5s.
No.
What?
Yeah,
Why would anybody do that?
because you gotta have because the whole family plays, man.
Hey, I bought one of those.
No, yeah,
You can
of
buy.
course.
You can afford to buy 2. We'll get 3
Okay.
PlayStations. Don't worry, Jim.
Yang with his universal basic income to save the day.
I
Add
might
$1,000
get
on the
one.
top of my salary. I can definitely swing that. You know what? Yang
Yeah.
for 2020.
But PlayStation
All
for
in.
all. PlayStation Universal Basic Income. Poobie.
PS Ubi. Basubi.
Subi.
Ubisoft. It's,
Poob.
it's already there. It's
Yeah.
already there.
Nick on Twitter says, right from this moment, your need for sleep is gone. You can now
Awesome.
stay awake till your eventual death without any consequences.
Wait. We're recycling front page Reddit stuff on lunch. What the hell?
How would the extra time that you get from not sleeping affect your life?
I would have a perceived 1/3 longer lifespan.
I would buy a virtual reality gear set, and I would go to town for those extra 8 hours. Who am I kidding? Those extra 6 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a huge life changer. It would be like if someone said your lifespan is going to be 120 instead of 80. That'd be pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I would not tell anyone. I just keep all that time for myself, though. I'd still complain about being busy all the time, but I actually have 6 to 7 hours of free time every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to have 6 to 7 hours of free time a day. That was nice.
When was that?
I think it was about the time that I moved out to Cincinnati.
Ah.
Yeah. It was like, okay, we're doing our shows and stuff, but we hadn't really gotten into the swing of like real business, like behind the scenes and doing a bunch of support for projects and stuff like that. And so I had good chunks of time where I just sat and did nothing but like watch TV, play video games. That's all a thing of the past.
Steve says, if there were Bald Move action figures, what would each of your primary accessories be? Maybe a Rick Sanchez portal gun, perhaps a lovable dire wolf that you actually keep by your side. How about a Wu-Tang tattoo? Deep leftovers cut right there. What would your accessory be?
I saw someone made a comment on this thread where they said one of the easy answers to me is a Yeti cup, which is like seriously, I very rarely as a Yeti cup leave my side. I take it with me in car. I take it with me on trips. I do love them. That's probably my most recognizable accessory. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do we get vehicles? We gotta have the vibe.
It's extra.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kinda have
that would
vibe.
be. I feel like if you're going for like the whole playset, then you could get the vehicle as well.
But your vehicle, for some reason, can only be found like really used in Goodwills. They never sold a brand new one, but there's always one in Goodwill.
Yeah. When you buy it brand new, it'll have 120,000 miles on it.
There's a trade-in program for the exact same model but newer.
Right, and the new 2019 gym line got a Tesla
Mhm.
upgrade, so
Ooh.
that's
Oh,
pretty.
yeah.
It's if you've been disappointed at the lack of model revisions, then whoo boy.
Did you claim an accessory?
No, I mean the burrito is the obvious one, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Oh, right.
and
That's
my
obvious.
action figure arm would do this with the burrito.
He'd squeeze his legs together and he just
Yeah.
power through burritos.
Right.
You do some bad things with that when you remove the burrito.
You know,
It's all
you got to have something to play around with.
all one smooth motion.
Yeah.
Peggy B, I'm looking for suggestions on how to gently make my significant other aware about some wild ear hairs of theirs.
Ooh.
I realize your ears are not readily viewable when you look in a mirror, so maybe they haven't noticed them, or maybe they have and don't care, or maybe they're leaving them there to torture me. I think if it was me, I'd want to know. Maybe, or maybe I'd crumble. Curse this decrepit mortal coil. It's so much upkeep.
Yeah, I mean that's a fact of life. Like 5 years ago, I had to start trimming my nose, and it's like I've had to start trimming my ears. Not a lot, but you got to keep up on it. I mean, do you think he's not aware of it? Because like the thing is, like I didn't know that I was starting to sprout hair out of my ears until like my barber said something. Because like how do you know? Like how do you look in the side of your eyes are pointed this way and your ears are pointed this way. It's tough.
Yeah. You got to get some elaborate mirror setup.
So maybe you could like do a jokey kind of like, "Hey, sexy, you trying to grow those ear hairs out, or like you doing something fun with them?" Or and
oh,
if he's
no,
like,
that would make me so self-conscious.
Want me to braid your ear hairs for you?
Yeah.
okay, what is your suggestion? Because I was trying
Hey,
to keep
sexy,
it light.
here's this gross thing about you that I can't stand. But I just called you sexy. Are you sure if I meant it? I don't
Okay,
know.
well if it's like super gross, because I didn't get I didn't think it was like repulsive. It's just kind of like maybe he should take care of it. In which case, I guess you could just be like, "Hey, can I take care of these ear hair for you?" And then you get a $30 ear hair trimmer and you just bzz, and it's done.
Yeah.
Is the ear hair trimmer the same thing as the nose hair trimmer?
Yes. Spoiler alert. Yes.
Why wouldn't it be?
Mm-hmm.
I saw people who watch Grand Designs will feel me on this. I saw perhaps the worst case of ear and nose hair that I've ever seen. Just tufts, just sticking out of this architect's ears and nose. It was shocking. And he had to know because it was also in his nose. And it's hard to avoid looking at your nose in
if
a
they
mirror.
stick out past the ear canal, like that's like that.
Yes,
then
they did.
you're no longer you're no longer the 90-degree visual interference rule no longer applies.
Oh, I feel like if they don't stick out past the canal, why do you care anyway?
Because people seeing you, people shooting you right down that ear, the bore of your ear gun can see it. Like if your significant other's wanting to nuzzle your neck and like her eyes right there, and it's like you got a fucking Cthulhu coming out of his cave. It's probably a lady boner killer, or a boner killer if you're a same sex couple. So that's not cool.
Or if your lady has big hairy ears.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It happens.
Mhm.
It happens.
You could drop some subtle hints, like point out that particular flaw in someone else. If you're watching TV, like, oh, I bet that guy's got a bunch of gross ear hairs. Or
Like Yoda. Next time you watch some Star Trek, Yoda's got crazy ear hair.
Right.
I'd be like, oh man, I just plucked an ear hair out of my ear. Have you ever done that, significant other? Ever think about it?
I was at a mechanic shop once, and this one mechanic had like kind of a beard a little bit gnarlier than mine, but he had his nose hairs coming out, and they just blended into his mustache. It's like his mustache extended into his sinus canal.
I just think that'd be uncomfortable, wouldn't it?
I don't know. Because here's the thing, like every time I freshly trim my nose hair, my nose itches for like a day and a half. It's like stubbly in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like pokey. So I'm kind of like, I look like I got coke nose, but it's worth it. It's worth it once a month or so.
Yeah. BroRad33. I went to the mall the other day, first time in a while, and it was a ghost town. No people, half the stores closed. It was pretty sad. I grew up in the mall glory days, and it kind of bummed me out.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed this in your area, and do you ever think brick and mortar stores will make a comeback? I know it's a stretch, but I have this hope that in 10 to 15 years, physical stores will make a comeback as a niche market. But what do y'all think?
Have we noticed economic devastation ravaging the retail landscape in the Midwest? Have you been to Arcade Legacy, Jim? Did I talk about this on the podcast?
I haven't been there now.
Because the day, like the day, Jack's last day of summer vacation to celebrate, we went. Arcade Legacy is this big, I don't know, 40,000 square foot, like 50, 60 arcade game cabinets. It's free play. They got like a dozen pinball machines. They've got big screen TVs and projectors hooked up with consoles. You can play. You know, you can check out, like, they've got shelves of library games. You just give them your driver's license. You can take anything out and play it on anything. But it is the sole, like, there's one end of the mall has got a Bass Pro Shop. The other end of the mall is this abandoned food court that Arcade Legacy is, and everything else is gone. And the lights are kind of like in mothball mode. And there's holes in the ceiling where water is leaking through and destroying the flooring. There's like buckets everywhere, and it's like very zombie apocalypse. And it is, yeah, it's pretty sad because one of these days Bass Pro Shop will. And the other odd thing is like the parking lot's just full of Amazon fleet vehicles. Like they're using it for some kind of staging depot or something.
Yeah, if that's not a good indication of the state of retail.
Yeah.
When your online retailers are moving into your old locations with their delivery vehicles.
Right, until they automate them and then consume the world. But it is I don't know. Like the next town over from my town, Plainfield, had no less than 3 abandoned Walmarts because every 5 years Walmart would move like a half mile up the highway, build a bigger Walmart, and then abandon the other one. And all the anchors. So like first it was the Walmart, and then all the anchor clients would move out, and you'd have this entire like strip mall ghost town. And they did it like 3 times in 15 years. And I just keep thinking,
how do you recoup your costs for that?
All these abandoned buildings, and this mall was
employees.
built in like the late 90s, and it had a refresh in like the early 2000s, and it looks very modern. It looks like a miniature town, and inside everything's divided into like the fashion neighborhood and the sports neighborhood, and it's how does that make economic sense? And also, how do we have homeless people when there's 1 million square feet of indoor there's got to be ways to get these needs and meet them up with existing infrastructure, and I don't know. But it's eerie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know.
But
I don't have any
I don't
real
think
answers.
brick and mortar are coming back.
No, I mean, I think it'll always be a niche thing. I think there are certain things that, you know, you'll probably want to see. Like I've always had a hard time getting good groceries online, like because that's something you kind of want to pick out for yourself. You don't want the shitty stuff that's about to go bad, and like I don't know, that might be a place, but they're trying to automate that too, or you know, take that online.
I mean, there might be places like game stores that hold like tournaments and events. You know, comic book stores,
Secondhand stores, those kinds of things.
like you said, things that like have a limited shelf life, like food. But yeah, because like a lot of things, like specialty stores, like a bicycle store, like it, or like you need to try a bike and kind of see if it fits. But like more and more people just do that and then order it off of whatever. I don't know if it might not be like the bulk items. That might be something else. Like you're probably not going to order a goddamn trailer, you know, for your truck online or something like that. But like,
I mean, Amazon sells tiny houses now.
Yeah.
Like, if you can buy a house online, I don't know that there's much you can't buy online.
it is funny that they've essentially reinvented the Sears catalog service,
Yeah.
except for like
Yeah.
at hyper fast speeds.
Yeah.
But I think the days of certainly the malls are gone. They're never going to be, and that's such a short-term fad, right? Like it's something
Yeah,
that
it started
came in the
the-
late 70s, and by the early 2000s it was as dead as a fucking doornail.
Yeah, pretty much.
And look at the giant scars in the landscape are just littered with them. Like there's 4 or 5 large malls in Cincinnati, most of them abandoned. Do you know what happened to Circle Center? Is it still like maybe the
Seems
one?
like it's still thriving.
Yeah, because it's downtown. It's still got a lot of like good anchor clients.
It's got a movie
and-
theater in it.
Still got the movie theater in it.
Bunch of restaurants in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Kenwood Mall here is thriving.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Holy
say.
shit.
And I'm sure the fashion mall in Carmel is still operating. They're just these.
Just every little suburb having
high-
their own one is just never. That's never going to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder where the kids cruise at now. Online.
Yeah.
Online.
Tinder.
Yep. 4chan and
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Snapchat. Joshua.
TikTok.
Joshua Heater. This is a topic you've no doubt touched on before, but do you have any general thoughts on the flood of remakes, reboots, sequels, prequels we've gotten over the past 10 or 20 years? It does seem like a reason for not doing a sequel or prequel is that it could potentially take away from the original work. However, while I think a remake of, for instance, The Princess Bride is ridiculous and stupid, I'm not really sure I can mount the same argument that it affects the original film, at least not in the same way.
I don't think you can affect an original film with anything other than a re-edit of that film. Like, The Matrix is still one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
The sequels do not change that fact. They could not change that fact. I don't subscribe to the idea that, like, oh, if they do something more, they can somehow ruin the original.
Counterpoint.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
They can change how I feel, but that didn't change how I felt about the originals. Like, that's
True,
That's the thing. I still love the originals.
But it changed your relationship with the series, you know.
Uh-huh.
So you're right. It didn't destroy the original work. It just destroyed your fandom.
It destroyed my future fandom. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, some of them are pointless. Some of them are great ideas. I can't think of anything more pointless than The Princess Bride. That's a fucking perfect movie.
How
It's
about
timeless.
Battlestar Galactica?
Doing it again?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, we already had. I don't think this is an on-air rant, but like I just laughed out loud when I heard that. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is some amazing Spider-Man shit,
What are you
and it's
doing,
going to go
Sam
over bad
Esmail?
as well.
I think we talked about this last week, but Sam Esmail did come out and say that they're not doing anything with the original characters or setting or
No
I haven't seen
Starbuck,
it.
no Apollo.
No, none of that. It's just going to be within the same universe
Okay.
and build on the
Starbuck.
ideas and themes.
Starbuck's a shapeshifter now. Totally
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Just an amorphous blob.
Yeah. Apollo is a sentient android.
All right. Who's somehow even sexier than Jamie Bamber.
Yeah. And Amidala still Edward James almost.
Amidala. Yep.
Yeah. I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
They are actually making. Amazon is making an Event Horizon series. Have you heard this?
No, but
I mean, that could be.
count me in.
That
yeah,
could be cool.
I like the
yeah.
idea of why don't we remake things that sucked?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you could do it better.
Like his Dark Materials, lackluster 2-hour adaptation, 10-hour HBO premium prestige drama. I mean, yeah. Like if you can expand it and let something breathe.
I mean, it's high risk because the first thing sucked and probably failed at the box office or wherever it was released. So you can't guarantee that people will come out to see this thing assuming it'll be better. But
Which is kind of the whole point of the remake, right? To
right.
cash in on the original success.
But it's going to get so much worse in the next 3 years.
Gremlins. Where's my Gremlins?
I think I
Critters.
read that there is there's something that they're working on. But it's going to like there's so many new outlets and they're all starving for content, and it's going to get way worse with this remakes and reimaginings and reboots because that's the easiest fucking thing in the world. If you own a piece of property,
We just need to write something and shop it around.
Yeah.
Because you're right. There's like content. There's a content drought. Shockingly, as much content as is already out there,
Good
there's still a
content,
drought.
Yeah. I don't know. BIPAC's coming up. Levi wanted to talk Highlander with us at some point.
Highlander. Okay. Yeah.
Ooh.
I think they're already doing a reboot of that though.
Are
Aren't
they? Or
Or
are they doing
remake.
a Jim Aaron and Levi reboot?
I seriously doubt it. Maybe if we can get Clancy Brown.
I mean, YouTube originals or Facebook Live will
Bad guy
certainly pick that up.
Bad guy
least.
Highlander. Why am I pronouncing Highlander so weird? I'm like Highlander.
Highlander.
Highlander. It's with this Scottish accent. Highlander. That's authentic Highlander accent. Just like Sean Connery was an authentic Egyptian Spaniard. Turnabout's fair play. If a Scotsman can be an Egyptian Spaniard, then I can fucking be
An Italian
Hoosier
American
Highlander for sure. A Highlander.
There's only one.
Thank God.
Lemon Cake says, you have mentioned that you appreciated the Serial Season 3 podcast revealing some of the real problems in the legal system. Listening to NPR, I heard about another podcast, kind of like Serial, called Running from Cops. The host highlights the compelling yet problematic nature of shows like Cops or Live PD, what happens behind the camera of those programs, and how there really seems to be a troubling conflict of interest for these shows to get good TV, often at the expense of good policing. He also discusses how shows like this have really shaped American views on the war on drugs and added to the lack of empathy for the high incarceration rates. I know you're coming into major podcasting crunch time, but I think you might enjoy this as much as I did, and I want it on your playlist.
I have very little time for even the podcasts I love. Like, I am like 3 weeks behind on Keep It. I'm a week and a half behind on Harmontown. And it's not going to get any better in the next couple months. But that does sound like something I would enjoy. I do loathe Cops, not the institution, but the television show. And I completely agree with what I understand of the cut of this podcast jib. I mean, it all goes back to the war on drugs and how, I mean, just watch a cop show from like the 70s and 80s and how the cops are dressed and what they're equipped with, and you look at them now and it looks like we're living in like the dystopia from RoboCop. It's absolutely indistinguishable, except we don't have cool cybernetic perfectly heroic and exceptionally well-trained cybernetic cops as part of the bargain. So it's like a real shit sandwich. It's made our cops bad. It's made our cops lazy. Like, if you've watched The Wire, if you're watching the Deuce, it lays it all on the line. It's corrupts the institution, and like, banning cops isn't going to help things. You gotta attack it at its source. But yeah, I don't want to rant once more into that breach. Sorry, already did.
Shaka Bry. Just finished a listen of this week's The Deuce coverage after you accidentally botched George Pelicano's name. You guys were discussing some humanizing qualities of Rudy and other characters in David Simon's world. Then this happened. You said something like Grace Notes from Tough People, and I think you didn't like the way you said it and took a beat to start over. What came through on the podcast was your pause, and then you mumbled, just turn this fucking thing off. Then you went back to repeat the Grace Note line and continued flawlessly to the end. Okay, first of all,
How did this
you
happen?
guys really do want me to get fired. Because I thought you were going to be cool.
Blowing up her spot.
Yeah, it's
Fucked
not
up
about whether or not you properly edit a podcast. It's profit. It's profit. You got to turn a profit.
Mm-hmm.
I made that, wait, let me finish the question first. 2 questions. What was the fucking thing you turned off, and have there been any memorable gaffes in your esteemed bald move career that you've overlooked and been embarrassed by? I did the beginner mistake of editing something at the beginning of the podcast instead of starting from the end, and my markers moved.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much remembered everything I marked except for that.
Yeah.
I remember what happened. My phone, I had just literally picked it up to turn it on vibrate, and then I set it down, and it did that bloop, bloop, bloop thing, and I'm like, I didn't say just turn it to, I said I just turned this fucking thing off. Mm-hmm. So it was like, yeah, I was irritated at my phone being weird.
It's interesting that the phone noises didn't actually come through the track.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't freak out like that, but I know I just really fucking annoyed. And also, that was the first day I was on the steroids, and I felt like I definitely was, because the doctors.
I don't think anyone knows you're on steroids. Have you told?
Yeah,
the
I opened
okay.
it up with like feeling strong,
Right.
And the doctor said like, you might feel a little bit of like you might find difficulty sleeping and getting restful, because this kind of can amp people up. And yeah, like 30 minutes after I took it, like. I'd taken it 30 minutes before we did the podcast, and I felt like I was talking twice as fast as usual, which is saying a lot. I understand for me, and I was, I had
aggression.
I had a roid rage. Prednisone coursing through my veins. What was the question of memorable?
I think the question is, who actually has sound on their phones? Who likes listening to
Yeah.
them ring or make noise anymore? How is it not on silent 100% of the time? I can hear my phone vibrating like in the other room.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my problem is like with these desks. If I leave it on vibrate, it actually is loud. So I turn my phone to silence when I'm doing a podcast. And sometimes because like fucking Google loves to change how the volume stuff works on Android. Like I feel like every major version, it's got a slightly different layout. Like sometimes you're turning everything on, sometimes you're only turning the media, sometimes you're turning it's all context sensitive. Mm-hmm. So, and my phone is like 3.5 years old now, and it's barely able to run its own fucking operating system. And now they're wanting me to go on like a new major version. I'm like, oh Jesus, what fresh hell is this going to be?
Allison.
Wait, there's a question about memorable. Wasn't there something about like memorable?
Do we have any memorable like gaffes or things we accidentally left in podcasts? I'm trying to think of any. I know we've done it before, or I should say I've done it before since I did the podcast or used to, but I don't remember any like specifically egregious ones.
We accidentally left like a bit of a spat in one of our American Horror Story podcasts, I think. Like we we just kind of had like, huh?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was a good fight to leave in. We had a very professional disagreement about something.
Yeah. But
I think
actually I think that happened to me and Jim.
Jimbo.
Cut that out. There's a gaff.
Famous T Islander Jim.
Boners.
Boner number 7. I think we did that once because I remember people getting like all upset about like, you know, and it wasn't even that bad. It was just kind of like, you know, kind of like, what the fuck are you talking? I can't remember what it was. It was a couple of sharp words exchanged for like 15 seconds. It should have been edited out, but
yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that's like, I can't think. Yeah, I don't know. Flown edit.
I mean, the moral of the story is that this is fucking Adobe Audition's fault. Why can't you just mark the track itself?
Yeah, I don't have a good explanation for why the markers don't move with the track as you edit it. That seems
because tracks move at different rates, right? Like, so you might cut something out of one track. It's not a podcast editing thing where if it was more attuned to like podcast editing, it would probably do that. Because most of the time you're going to have multiple people recording at the same rates and the same time, and the edits are going to come out of all the tracks. But this is like a music thing, so
what is the point of using a marker then? I guess.
I mean, for us, we use it as
no, but I'm saying, what is Adobe's intended use for the marker tool? Because it seems like that even if you're using marker like a music, like what is it? How does that?
It does give you sort of good snapping ability, so like you can finally place that marker and then snap a bunch of stuff to it, or like. I mean, it's a useful tool, I'm sure, in music editing, but I don't know how it's used exactly because I've never done any.
I wish there's a new type of marker that would float with the track as you edited it. Like,
I mean, Premiere has this. Like, this is so weird that Premiere does things with audio that Audition doesn't. Like, Premiere, you can attach any marker to any clip, to any track, whatever you want. And they have also the ability to sync video clips based on the audio, but Audition does not. Audition doesn't just have a function that syncs up all these tracks. Even when there's that crosstalk that you can hear in the background, it won't let me sync them automatically. So I have to go in and manually adjust it.
All those products also have select, zoom, and cutting tools, and they're all different hotkeys.
Tell me about it. R versus C when it comes to the razor tool.
This is not competing products. This is all owned by one company. They have absolute control over the user interface. What the fuck?
So stupid.
Yeah. It's 2:30 and we have 6 questions left. What are your thoughts?
No, I don't know. We got
let's roll.
Some time. Yeah.
All right. Allison. Hi, Jim, Aaron, and Cecily. I just finished listening to your more recent Empire Business podcast. In it, you mentioned the challenge in retaining new members who join just for one show, discontinuing their membership once they do. Presumably, one of the reasons being that they don't know you or the community well enough to stay for other shows or member content. Just a couple ideas that I was curious if you had already explored. First, have you considered sharing more about your growing team online outside of a podcast format? It'd be great to see photos and or videos of you all in your recording digs on your website. It might help to give new people a sense of who you all are and us older members a sense of who your new hires are, especially as your staff grows in future.
I think Candids in the studio would be a good idea. It's just that we haven't, like, this seems weird because we've been in here since April, but we still don't really have this studio put together. Now, we're taking one of our first steps today. We're actually moving this ad hoc setup that we've had since April to the actual studio part of the office, so we can set up the office part. So maybe we can start doing that. But like honestly, like God, there's like pieces of plywood and horses and ladders and temporary lighting and just shit. It's embarrassing. It's Sanford and Son in here. It looks like
It's not that bad. Just
I mean,
disorganized.
it looks like the Red Letter Media guys' fake set, our actual working environment. So like, if we get that cleaned up, then yeah. But also the other thing is like, we're really lean and mean. Like in the studio, like we don't got a lot of fucking around time.
Yeah.
Like I don't. When we do fuck around, it's usually off hours, like a Double Hook Fridays type of situation. But it's not like this isn't a cool new media company where everyone's drinking beers and doing darts and playing foosball table like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Like we got fucking work to do. So, but yeah, I think more Candids, like when we get that stuff set up, like being able to like think about that and maybe do like like some type of press release type of situation would be
I
cool.
have noticed that on social media, if I post pictures of us or some other kind of personal anecdote, or if anyone posts something and sign it as themselves, that we get a lot more engagement than anything else.
Well, I mean, as our social media person, you'll probably have to push us to that because I don't think like Aaron or I are really. It's not that we're not interested in fostering community. It's just that those types of things to me are just weird. I understand the connection. Like I like seeing pictures of podcasters or any other person that I enjoy watching online, kind of behind the scenes. So I get it. It's just,
you know what it is?
it's hard for us to do.
We thrive on process and procedure, and that's just not part of our process and procedure. Like
Yeah.
if we got into the habit of like, hey, Wednesdays are fun, fucking stage rando shot day, we could probably do that. Or if like Cecily just was, like, hey, anytime something, but I don't know. It's something you got to think about and implement and get a process and procedure to where that stuff until it becomes routine. Because once we turn process and procedures into routine, that's where we really find success. And we just haven't had the ability to set one of those up yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Second, if you decide to expand the type of podcast you offer, hold a contest, a podcast version of American Idol. You've fostered an amazing community. I'm sure they, like me, are frustrated podcasters at heart that would love nothing better than an opportunity to let their creative juices flow and pitch you an idea. You can invite the creator of your favorite idea to join you for the first recording.
That's a great idea. Counterpoint, I watched Penny Arcade do that with Strip Search. And Mike almost had a fucking nervous breakdown because, like, he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. These guys are all doing really good work and they should all win. And I'm having to send one home because this is the fucking game.
Yeah.
This is the fucking game. And I could that would be me on day one. Like, even the hackiest piece of shit podcaster, I'd be like, shit. I mean, was this worse than Blue Yonder episode 1? And I've got a career. I don't deserve this. I'm a fraud. You guys see it now. Get away. Go. It's like it's not good. Great idea. We would have to be like twice the asshole to pull it off, I think.
Yeah.
We need to have Simon Cowell consult for us.
Mm-hmm.
Get Paula Abdul up in here.
Yeah. Allison finishes, Cecily, instead of being concerned you'll be fired, stage a coup, but on air during Lwj&A and Aaron, please.
Revolution.
Violent,
seize the means of podcast production.
Yeah.
I think you actually already have. The means of podcast production is now on your desk, so you've successfully seized it. The revolution was not televised. We fucked up.
You're green with envy. Last week, my girlfriend and I watched Arrival, one of my favorite sci-fi movies. My girlfriend had never seen the movie, and needless to say, at the end, we were both a crying mess. My question is, if you could know your entire future, all the good and the bad, and even if the worst possible happens, would you want to know, and could you go through with living in with the inevitable as Amy Adams chose? My answer is yes.
I
I
never
thought that was Annihilation when I was reading it. I was like,
Oh.
You know, I'd never thought of that before I actually saw that movie, which was one of the reasons I love that movie. And I kind of agree with the conclusion that Amy, because number one, I don't think you have a choice. Like in the premise of this movie, like there's no capacity to change your future.
It did happen and always will happen.
It's just that you've got like a fifth dimensional ability to step aside and look at the whole thing. And then I don't know, there's also like maybe a Dr. Manhattan kind of thing where like he knows that Laurie's going to cheat on him, but when he finds when it comes to time, the space time for him to actually experience it, it's still like, you know, it's a kick in the crotch, right? So yeah, I think I agree with that worldview.
Also,
that you would want to know or wouldn't?
That I mean that I would know, like
you would live with the inevitable.
Yeah. Cause shit, I mean, my life's had lots of ups, lots of downs, and I can't easily say what bad I would undo, because I would be a fundamentally different person on the really major stuff. So, and I like the person I am now, so I could see, yeah, I think I'd be pretty happy. I don't know. It just depends on how the next 30 years go. Check back with us in 2059.
You wouldn't know until you struck that deal, right? So
right.
It's pretty risky. I don't know. I'd probably want to know. I think so. I'm of the opinion that spoilers don't entirely ruin the experience of watching a movie. So yeah, why not?
Also, on another science fiction related note, I discovered today while rewatching Interstellar, Bill Irwin plays the voice of Tars. Thought Aaron would appreciate that.
He is the male Loudermilk from Legion. The split guy girl.
Oh.
Yeah. I did not know that though.
Tulip Blossom, if you could start your day with a perfect breakfast, what would that include? Is there anything for breakfast you hate? My perfect breakfast would be a waffle, side of sausage links, and breakfast potatoes. Will I start a riot or get banned from lunch if I say I think bacon is disgusting?
Yeah.
No, but
I think
it's definitely a minority opinion.
Yeah.
I think that's your opinion to have, but I think it's wrong. Just like
and you should be ashamed.
No, I mean I think it's one of those things that's like designed to be kind of addictive, like sugar or MSG in your food.
I used to hate bacon
It's
because
salty.
my mom and dad just burnt the shit out of really low quality bacon. You know, you get like city market bacon and you cook it properly. Holy fuck, that tastes good. But I'm also like, I discovered bacon just at the time I was cutting out a lot of red meat in my diet.
Yeah.
So we have bacon 3 or 4 times a year maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
What's your perfect breakfast? Burrito?
I think it's poutine. I really like poutine. I've gotten to the point where almost every Saturday I get some form of poutine.
Where do you go to get poutine?
There's Brown Dog, which is a local. It's up near the park in Blue Ash, and then there's Tila. I like their poutine. A couple of good places. Yeah, that's probably my favorite.
My current perfect breakfast is the trifecta at First Watch. God, I love their pancakes. But in general, I love like some sort of omelet. You know, like a couple cheese, maybe some mushrooms, some peppers, some spinach in there, and biscuits and gravy. Like a really good biscuits and gravy. I fucking love.
Yep.
Fern NYC, very much enjoyed your last Empire business, but it does sound like live watches are done for a while. This ends my hope of you guys one day doing a live watch of Star Trek V or any Roland Emmerich movie, which I think would be comedy gold. I understand that they are doing nothing in increasing views, if only there was a way I could pay you, or I could pay you guys to watch these films. Like if I could commission you to view these films for a fair price so you can make fun of them and bring joy to the Bald Move community, if only.
The fair price, that's the problem.
Hmm.
I don't think that we're not ever doing live watches. It's more of like it doesn't seem like it's an effective use of our time. So like if we're going to do a live watch, it's going to be like some kind of like singular thing that we're really jonesed about. I don't know. What's your? Because I don't remember us saying that we're never going to do live watches. It's more of like live watches for most television shows and movies, or the way, like, because there's a, when back in the glory days of The Walking Dead, we had 16 a year plus whatever else we did. And also like for the super serious film fests, I don't think first time live watches, because a lot of those things were like the first time you had seen like Excalibur, the first time that I had seen, I don't know, fucking Beastmaster or whatever. I can't even remember the things we did. And yeah, I don't know. We just need better technology, because I think people would really dig it. It's just very, very, very hard to use. It's like the single hardest thing to enjoy as a club member. But they're super fun. Like, God, I wish we had done some of these last start, because I'm on fire watching these Star Trek things, man.
Well, when you get through TNG, we'll do DS9 as all live watches.
See, DS9
for the next 8 years of our lives.
Most TNG episodes I've seen 5-6 times, and a couple of them I've seen a bunch, because like I was explaining to Cecily, I used to record these things obsessively on VHS and watch my favorites. Deep Space Nine, the majority of those episodes I've seen exactly one time, and I don't remember a lot. Like, I don't even remember how it ends. I'm pretty sure Sisko ascends to some sort of wormhole godhood.
That sounds right to me. I watched it a few years ago.
Yeah, but I don't remember exact, because like I can't remember whether did the Romulans ally with the Dominion? Did the Romulans did they finally declare for the Federation and the Klingons, or did they do both at different times of the? I was trying to think of like the blow by blow of how the Dominion War went. I remember Ketracel White and. And the one like big land battle episode, the in the trenches where they had Tuco. Wasn't he in that episode?
Yeah.
I remember when
I think so. Yeah.
One of the Galaxy class ships got blown up, and like the Jim Hadar ship suicided into it to like kick off the Dominion War, and I remember some of the like Odo merging with the Founders planet. But it's just all very fragmentary.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of the Mirror Universe episodes. Those were a lot of fun.
Okay. With evil Kira.
Yeah. And I remember like Jagzia turning into Kirsten Dax. Curzon was the original. He's the OG. Yeah. Well, the middle G.
Yeah. The G before Jadzia.
Ezri. Was it Ezri Dax?
Yeah.
Did she stay married to Worf?
Stay married? I don't know.
Did Worf marry Jax? Didn't he?
Jesus Christ, Jim.
Did he marry the Trill?
I know they were banging. I'm not sure if they actually got married before she switched bodies, or before it switched bodies. I don't even know what to call the symbiote.
Oh, by the way, we watched. I think that's the episode I forgot to talk about, where Crusher fell in love with the Trill.
Oh yeah.
And like the Federation at that point didn't know the Trill was a conjoined species, and they pulled the symbiote out of this guy because he gets killed in the shuttlecraft accident, and it gets implanted in Riker. And then Riker's.
Again, it always has to be the main crew members.
Yeah.
You're telling me there's not some ensign that's
right that wouldn't volunteer to like house this thing to prevent the galactic war.
Yeah. Put it in Wesley. That's a real conundrum.
Wesley's in the Yeah, that'd be the go-to. But he's often Data steps forward to volunteer, but Crusher's like, "You're a robot, you dumbass." It's literally what she said.
It's a temporary body.
Yeah.
But they still have to
and so
consummate their love.
So then like Crusher's like trying to resist, like, because the other thing is like the Trills as originally envisioned, like the symbiote just takes over.
Yeah.
And in the DS9 era, it's more of like a harmony, like the two personalities merge and harmonize with each other. But and plus the Trill had weird forehead ridges. Could they not get who played Jaxie? I forget her name. Terry Crews.
Terry Crews.
Terry
yeah.
Garr. Terry
Hatcher.
something. Terry Hatcher. Did she just like, I'm not going to have shit glued to my face. I'm not sitting in the
But I will sit in the makeup chair to get all these dots painted.
I'll let you
all down my
Sharpie.
entire
I'll let
body.
you Sharpie some brown dots on me. It'll take you like 20 minutes and I'm out. I don't
Unless
know.
I'm showing like an exceptional amount of leg in the episode, and then it'll take another half hour.
Oh, that's right, because it
They
goes
go
all the
all-
way
yeah.
to yeah.
I think there's even a line in DS9 about it going all the way
Oh,
down.
yeah.
way
Those dots go
down.
all the way down.
Jesus.
Stupid. Yeah, I mean, does Riker have memories of being in love with Beverly?
they
I would
Fucked.
assume so. Yeah.
They fought
Does
like
he know all-
like Crusher held off for 2 full acts, but then the combined onslaught of her love for the symbiote and Riker being a sexy beast.
Right. But,
He spun
I
that
can't
chair
blame her
around, and it
there.
was all over.
By the way, the
But
episode.
like, if the Trill takes over his body, doesn't Riker also now have memories of everything
He
that
would.
Beverly and the Trill guy did together?
By DS9 rules, yes. I don't know about TNG rules.
And by the way,
Okay.
when in the episode where Data's dating this crew member, Riker is the only crew member that gave him advice that's remotely holds up to 2019
he starts off by
scrutiny.
going to Geordi.
Yeah.
Oh,
But Geordi is at least self-aware enough to be like,
Ugh.
dude, have you not seen my character arc? I fell in love with the fucking holodeck character.
yeah.
Like 2 episodes after we just reamed Barkley for doing the same fucking thing. So I'm completely useless here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
look
but Riker is like, she's a beautiful woman. She's a consenting adult. She's made clear that she knows what she's getting into. Like,
But the lecherous
What are you,
look
an
on
ass-
his face when he's delivering these lines
Yeah.
is some of the best.
yeah,
I've
he's
ever
like
seen.
he's got his feet kicked back on the conference table. He's like, let me tell you the moves. Let me tell you the moves here that you want to make, Data.
Oh, boy.
Amazing. Last question. Hatorian, if you could incept one idea into one person, what would it be? Obviously, the easy answer is to have Jeff Bezos transfer all of his money to you, or the half he has left.
feel like Jeff
Decisively win the
Bezos-
Copper War in one stroke.
Right.
But
I feel like he has been incepted, though. Did you guys see this thing about Amazon, like, outdoing the Paris climate agreements?
No.
Yeah, he says he's going to do it 10 years earlier with Amazon. He's going to renewabilize the entirety of the Amazon infrastructure 10 years before the Paris climate agreement says that they should.
I mean, I don't know Hattori. It was a Hatorian.
Yeah, I think he's been incepted.
How do you think Expanse got saved? Do I have a real?
Well, there's a caveat here. Jeff Bezos. I'm sorry. The only rule here is that you can't get rich off the idea.
Oh, okay.
I would incept the idea into the Pope that he needs to get on his chair and speak ex cathedris or whatever it is when he's speaking for God and say that abortion before the 3rd trimester is not a sin. Because that would single-handedly swing all Catholics from the conservative side of the equation. Because like Catholics have always been natural allies to progressives when it comes to helping the poor, helping the minorities, immigrants. You know, they're all about, ostensibly about compassion and Christ-like qualities. And it's that one thing that sticks them. And I feel like if they could find some kind of bullshit spiritual rationalization to smooth that over, that would hugely help politics, at least this country. So there, yeah, I'd do that.
That's a good answer.
I'm trying to think if I were to incept myself with an idea, what would
Ooh.
it be? To work out more again. Take care of my body and mind. Can I do that? Can I incept myself?
I think you can. Like, that's the whole point of consciousness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's easier. It's actually easier said than done, but it can be done. Easier than incepting the Pope, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you're giving me a free ticket to Inception, right? Like, you're just saying, oh, the idea would be incepted. No, I wouldn't have to trick myself. It would just be there. Yeah.
How many times do you think Leo incepted someone just to get him to stop smoking?
Probably none.
It'd be a bang up. Why not? Probably because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
I was just
I
thinking,
mean,
like,
what's-
it'd be the ultimate, like, hypnotic therapy, right? Like like an
Oh, yeah, I
unshakable
mean-
belief that you should stop smoking,
Yeah, the trouble is you have to do it without them knowing, right? So like you can't open up a shop that's like, "Hey, come get incepted and we'll change your habits for you." Because they would know they're being incepted and they'd be on guard.
That's true. The whole idea that you can't, yeah.
So you have to incept somebody both with the life-changing idea and also with the idea that they need to come pay you for that service after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Or you do it like 2 truths and a lie. You just go in there, you give them money and 3 ideas of things that you want to
Okay.
change about yourself. So that way you don't really know which one it's going to be.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's like one of those things where like sometime in the next 5 years we're gonna abduct you and incept you,
Like the game, yeah.
Yeah. That is all the questions we have. If you want to ask questions for next week, you can do so on Twitter, #BaldLunch, or in the forums.baldmove.com. And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's
Alright.
also that'll be where the lunch after that will be at BiPAX in Cleveland with our buddies.
Right.
So we'll have one lunch and then we'll skip a lunch and then we'll have a whole bunch of BiPAX tales. Tales from BiPAX after that. So get your cues in next
tuned.
week.
Get your cues in.
It could be like a Q camel. Just drink them up, store them in your Q hump
No,
because there's going to be a drought.
don't hit that button.
Which one?
You gotta switch the view
Oh,
first.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Bye.